Welcome to Finding Your Spark again. We're going to do something just a little bit different this time. And so I want to give you a preface so that you know what's going on. I'm doing an in-person interview with someone I met who I really am excited to bring to you, for you to get to meet. Such a resilient family is really amazing for me. So, I was in Sayulita, Nayarit, Mexico, and I met these beautiful people who own a shop there. Okay. And so the shop was so beautiful that it called me to it. It had all of these beautiful figurines in it that had the skeletal center and then all these beautiful beaded dresses all over it and many other figurines in the shop. And I just was drawn to it. I thought, I love this place. Let me just go check it out. It's so colorful and beautiful, but somehow incorporates all of life, right? Isn't like just the shiny bit, right? And so I went in and I met the owner, and it wasn't long into our conversation, he asked me about the podcast, and I told him, and he said, wait, uh, let me show you something. And I said, "Oh, okay." And he brought me his phone and he showed me a beautiful boy on the phone and said, "This is my son." And I said, "Well, he's lovely, because that's what I thought he was his son from right now." And he said he died many years ago. And uh, we started to have a real conversation about how you tap in to joy, how you move forward, how you create new life from the life that got completely destroyed. So, Santos is his name, and he and his wife Raquel are going to talk to us a bit. But one of the big things that really touched me about this is this concept of healing one way or the other. So they have a specific religious background, but what I found so amazing and really important to the process of healing is wanting life to go forward one way or the other so that the people who are in pain, and including yourself, can find a way to something better. So we're in Mexico during this. So the Day of the Dead celebration is a big part of the conversation. It is an incredible celebration of life that Mexican culture does every year at a specific time. And what I love about that is that they really take time to set aside time and be with the people who are no longer with them in the physical existence. So I hope that you get a ton out of this. Certainly I did. So here's Santos. I was so touched when we met the other day.
Okay.
And I was able to talk to you about that podcast, and you shared the beautiful picture of your boy. And I would love it if we could talk a little bit about that. And as I told you, my husband just passed away about a few months ago, 6 months ago or so. And so going through that and then being able to figure out how to put yourself back together again is really what the podcast is about. So,
well, it's too hard.
Yeah.
Because you think you can make it.
Yeah.
But you never be prepared, because at the beginning I can't even talk about it, because I have like all mixed up emotions, and I used to cry a lot. I read a book, talk about, the lie between earth and heaven. So that's the name of the book. So the book helped me, kind of heal, the inside. Yeah. But what happens, I used to dream the book. Well, not the book, but whatever the book says, I used to dream that. My son, he passed away when he was 13 years old. So he got leukemia. We passed through so many things. We did two bone marrow transplants. The first one, he stayed good for 3 years. So he,
Relapsed,
relapsed. And the second one, he cannot make it. And to me, it was too hard to say goodbye because, you're expecting they bury you, not you bury them.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
So that's why, it was kind of hard for me. And, thanks to God, one way or another, I accept that. Well, first of all, I ask God to heal him one way or another, because if that was for me, I preferred to be with me.
Yeah.
But I asked to be healed no matter where he was, like, with him or here. Going back to, to the Day of the Dead, we honor his memory. We believe he come on, November 2nd, the Day of the Dead celebrations is on November 2nd.
Did he die at that time of year?
No, he passed away on December 17th.
December 17th.
Yeah, so
And what is his name?
his name was Eric.
Eric.
Yeah.
What a pretty name.
Yeah, at that time we had two kids, Eric and Antar. So they were, like 5 years apart. And when he passed, December 17th. So we already have his gift on the Christmas tree. So what happens, we have to, give it back to the store. And I don't like Christmas from that time. I was enjoying because I have my oldest son, but I don't like Christmas anymore.
Yeah, it's hard to go through.
Yes. So after the years, Raquel, my wife, she decided to have another kid. Because she told me we're gonna get an old, so Anthony is gonna grow and he's gonna go, and we're gonna be just alone. So she went on and on and on, tell me, the chances to have a little girl, and well, she got me and said okay, because I told her, just think about it. There's a new start. There's a new beginning.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
And at that time, I was like 40 years old, and well, she got me, and then we got a little girl.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And how old is your girl now?
My daughter, she's 11. So the point of this, when she born, I decide to make a good name, involve, like Christmas, because I used to like Christmas. I said, I'm gonna love it again. So I use, her name is Chrisbel.
Oh, beautiful.
So I use CHRIS for Christmas, and on Christmas is a lot of bells. So that's why I put it all together. So that's why her name
That's how she got her name?
her name is Chrisbel.
Beautiful.
But the amazing thing is the name has a meaning.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
My sister-in-law, she said, wow, you're always crazy, picking, weird names. And, because my second kid named Antar, I read a book about, the Prince of Persia, and his name was Antar, Anthar. And that's why he got his name. So on Chrisbel, she said, what kind of name is that? So my wife said, well, he just make it up. But the name has a meaning, means love in Christ.
I also had an impromptu conversation with Raquel, Santos's wife. And in this conversation, she was so open and willing to talk to me about how you move forward. But something that she said to me really stuck, and that was that she had these dreams of her son coming to her after he passed away, and she dreamed of him all the time until something different happened.
One day, he just tell me, I have to go. And
In your dreams?
And I say, where are you going? Are you okay? The place where you going, you will be fine. I'm fine. Believe me. He say, but your father, your brother is too sad. They will be okay. I must to go.
Yes. Yes.
but you need to say yes.
Yes. So, yes. Yes, I get goosebumps too.
And I say yes,
Yeah.
go. And I start to dream with him. I met a person, she was a woman, and I, because she loves her son, and I say, how you do it? Tell me how you do it, because I need to know what I need to do.
Mm.
And she say, you want to learn life alone, not with him.
Mm.
Because all the time you remember him, it will be the same.
Mm.
The same pain. You want to feel the same. You're not going to forget this.
Mm.
You want to, meet some people and other people, maybe change the work and the city, but here it's the same.
Keeping our loved ones close to us, even after they've passed away, is sometimes quite difficult after a big loss like that. It's tricky business. Often, one way to do it is that we're able to find an image and to keep it with us so that they become a part of the life that we're building. Santos talks to me about that in this next section.
Do you have your phone with you?
Yeah.
Can I see the picture of I'm going to put your beautiful son on. So one of the things that I loved so much is that when you showed me your picture, I have a picture like that of my husband on my phone. And I thought, oh, do we all do it? Is that where we put our pictures now? Because I carry it with me all the time. And it was encouraging to me that your son died quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
And you still have it right on your phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See, we will live if we keep it on our mind. There's always gonna be around us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
If you forget, there's always gonna disappear.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw the movie Coco.
I did. I love it.
Remember about they want to keep the mama, kind of awake to she
That's
remember.
right. So she can remember the father.
Yeah,
That's
so
right.
he can come from the other world to our world.
That's right.
Yeah, so that's why we keep it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. On our altar on November 2nd, that's what we do. We set it up altar on it, and then picture and his favorite item. So he got a color. So we got the color right next to the picture. Whatever he used to like, tacos and.
Do you have a special taco that he liked?
Carne asada tacos.
Okay, so beef tacos, huh?
And Raquel, she used to make, the tortillas.
Yeah.
So he loves that,
I love that.
See?
I know. Now you need to eat one.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we do on those days.
Mm.
A week before November 2nd, we eat, the different dishes what our lovers they used to eat as a remember them.
Mm.
Yeah. And after that, what we live on those days is more about tradition and at the same time religion.
Mm.
As a Catholics, we go to the cemeteries. Actually, the cemetery for us we call it Campo Santo, like Saint Field.
Mm.
Yeah, or holy
Field of saints.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So that's how we call it in Spanish, Campo Santo.
Now, I was so lucky to get to go to
The cemetery.
the Playa Los Muertos, right?
Yeah.
And your cemeteries are so colorful and full of celebration, which is very different from in the United States. Can you tell me a little bit about is that part of that celebration of life that you have in November? Or?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Actually, on November, we use some specific flowers. I don't know how to call those flowers in English. We call them tempasuchil. Yeah, they're yellow, and the smell is kind of different. And those are the more traditional for this, those days.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you see on the flower shops full of the flowers.
Yeah.
And that's a tradition to get those and bring it up to to the cemetery. We bring the cemetery. We bring food.
Yeah.
And water. We believe they come in from the whole world to join us
To visit with
and to
you.
visit us
Yeah.
to eat some of they,
Yeah. Their
yeah,
favorites.
the favorites. It's when in Christmas on the States, when Santa Claus come and visit your house, you put cookies
Yeah.
and milk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's
That's
right.
a tradition.
That's right.
So for us, it's the same thing. Yeah, we set it up. Food, especially bread. We call pan de muerto. It's some specific bread we make on those days. That's like rice with milk. So we just set it up in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's the celebration of.
Like a pudding. You make rice pudding. Yeah, with the rice and the milk and
Yeah, yeah,
sugar.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what we live
I
there.
was thinking that if I was going to do this for my husband, my late husband, I would have to be cooking for months because he liked so many foods. And
Well,
he was a very good cook.
it's gonna be on 1 week.
One week.
1 week before November 2nd.
All right, over years
Yeah.
I'll dole it out.
You
over
have
years.
to decide the best ones
Okay.
he used to like.
Well,
Yeah.
I'll decide on the ones I could make because he was so talented in the kitchen, but I probably couldn't do justice to most of it.
See, so that's
lovely. Yeah.
you have to find out the way.
I will.
Yeah.
I will have
So that's
to.
why you're carrying the
Yes.
ring.
So this necklace that I wear is his ring, his wedding ring, and the crystal is what I had on when he went into the hospital, and it was during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so they only let you stay a half hour a day, and I had been his care manager, right?
Mhm.
And so they said, you have to leave. And I was like, I cannot leave. Are you crazy? He can't talk for himself. How are decisions going to get made, you know? And they said, don't worry, we'll make the decisions, which made me a little uncomfortable. But, that's how it is there. Yeah. So I took my necklace, the crystal, and I put it over his bed. And I said, okay, I will go home and I will get another crystal just like it. And we will stay connected through the prism, right? The prism of the spiritual
the
world.
energy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I will leave that on
Yeah.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the other one that I wore at the time is quite large because the other one I had was quite large. It's like an inch big, it was very big. And so I switched to this one after he passed away. So I always feel like I'm carrying him with me.
Sometimes my crazy feelings, I feel like my daughter. Eric reborn on her, but on a female, because she does different things he used to do.
Yeah.
Of course, they're brothers.
Yeah.
But
those memories.
Exactly the way she sleep. Sometimes she sleep, like this.
Yeah.
And the way she see me and different things she does.
That's beautiful.
And I said, well, I always say thank you, God, because I'm thinking, the book I was telling you about says about reincarnation.
Reincarnation, yeah, yeah.
On the book says, when you met the master, they never talk about Jesus, they talk about master. They prepared yourself, on heaven. And at the time you have to meet the master, you have to choose where you're gonna reborn. You can stay there or you're reborn. But you're never reborn on the same place and not with the same family. That's what the book says. So sometimes I think, well, maybe the book was wrong.
That's right.
Because that's the way I feel.
Yeah. I like the idea that we kind of are like from soul soup, right?
Yeah.
And so we die. My late husband, he dies, and he goes back to the soul soup.
Exactly.
And so a little bit of him goes into someone over here, and a little bit of him goes into someone over there. So it's nice when I can see, sometimes I can feel like I see that person in multiple places, right? Where we can say, oh, there's a little bit of him over there and a little bit of him over there,
I don't know.
That's a nice
I don't know.
idea.
You're listening singer. I don't remember her name, but she has cancer, and she sing a song, It's Okay.
Mm.
And when she sang the song, I was thinking of my son, what he passed through. And like she say, she has I don't remember the number of chances to survive.
Mm.
So she moved from somewhere on the States to California
Mm.
to have, chemotherapy, treatment. And on her time off or time by herself, she write the song.
Mm.
Yeah. So like the name of the song is It's Okay.
It's okay. And she's from the United States.
Yeah, she
I'm
is.
gonna find it. We'll
Yeah.
see if we can find it.
Yeah,
That'll
yeah.
be fun.
Yeah. She's a good singer, and she was singing her life during the chemotherapy treatment.
Yeah.
And like she said, it's okay. I mean,
It's okay one way or the other.
exactly.
And I think that's a really big key that sometimes we forget and we think it's only okay if it works the way I want it. If I get to keep my son, if I get to keep my husband, right? But it's okay. It has to be okay.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna be okay.
Exactly.
And then we have to figure out how to be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, like my son, he wants to have a dog, but we're not allowed to have one, on those days. So after a little while, I decided to have a dog. But I never told anybody why the reason, to have a dog. It was only me. I said, well, he wanted, so we're gonna have one. So we have, since then, we got 2 dogs. And my son Anton, he just find out because I was talking with somebody about the singer, and one of my customers, there was 3 girls, they lost her friend with the same thing, cancer.
Yeah.
And we talk about the singer.
Yeah.
And I told them about my son and the dog, and my son, he was listening like, well, now you know why we got dog.
Yeah, that's right.
Because he wanted.
Took a few years, but he found out.
Yeah, he wanted, so that's why we have it.
So this thing that you just referred to, where you talk to people. Now I know you said it took you time, but the same. I had a beautiful conversation with your wife as well, and you're both so open and willing to share. Not just about your son, but about you and your process going through this. And for me, this is the key, right? Because a lot of times people just lock it away. They never talk about it again. And they say, that's it. I can't talk about that. It's too hard. But you're living in it.
That's one of the biggest problems. Sometimes when you keep him up, it's kind of, let's say, killing you. At the beginning, I couldn't even talk. I couldn't even say his name because I was crying. I dreamed him once, and he came to my dreams, and he said, "I'm okay. Look at me, where I am." And I saw him, like maybe 3, 4, 5 years later, and he looked so happy. And I see the place where he was, and when I read the book, whatever my dream was, the book says, like they come into your dreams and let you know they're fine. Because when my dad passed, my mom tell us, don't cry, let him go. When he was passing, we were right with my dad at the hospital, and when he was, like passing, we started crying, and my mom says, don't cry, don't keep him alive, let him go. Because what she say, sometimes we're gonna be suffering, but don't show the person you're suffering, because make the person feel you're gonna be okay, even if you don't.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is really interesting because there are a lot of people who feel and who are capable of holding the hand of someone who's passing away and sort of being really present in that moment for them. And I am someone who, my experience with death is that when I get near someone, physically near them, within a few feet, who's trying to make that transition, they start
gaining energy and coming back.
Yeah.
And so I tend to be someone who says, okay, I'm saying goodbye, and then I'm going to stand over here because you've got what looks like a very hard thing to do, right? To go from being in a body to not being in a body. It looks like something that's a real process, right? So you got to leave them alone and let them do it.
And at that time, whatever you mean, you have to say it.
Yeah.
I mean, not just like you say fake it to make it. If you mean it, say it. See, like on my case, when my son, he was suffering too much, he was, on the machine, helping him to breathe and all like that. And at that time, my wife, she was talking with somebody on the phone, and I was holding his hand, and I looked him in the eyes, and I said, if you need to go, you must go. We're gonna be okay. And I was dying inside, but I was so strong and make feel we're gonna be okay, because sometimes we say it, but we don't feel it.
Yeah. And ultimately, we will be okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at the time I say that, we're gonna be okay, he stopped breathing. Yes.
Wow.
And Raquel, she never seen it. The time she, hang up, and she said, what happened? He read it all.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Just like that.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
A father's permission.
Yeah.
So noble.
So it was hard, but it was,
And he knew, and he knows that it's hard, or he wouldn't have come back and say, hey, I'm okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so beautiful that you can show up for your child, even though it's heartbreaking to do that, right? It's heartbreaking to stay strong.
Sometimes you want to be like, I don't know if that's the right word, selfish.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be suffering.
Yeah.
So you prefer the other person suffering for you.
Yeah.
So that's why you want to keep it.
Yeah.
No matter what. But sometimes you change the shoes, you're gonna see, the picture from the other side.
Yeah.
So always I'm thinking like that. I put on people's shoes.
Yeah.
To see if that's the right thing or not. Because sometimes like he was suffering, but you don't want to suffer. Like, okay, let's do this, let's do that, and sometimes to talk about that, I mean, to people is gonna be dead, so that's kind of taboo because we think we're not prepared or we don't want to talk about it, but it's good to talk about it because when that happens, you're being prepared. See, for example, on our case, Raquel, she don't want to be buried. She want to be cremated and mix her ashes with Eric and release into the water. And I talked to her family. I said, you know what, this is what she wants. Because if you don't talk to them and you do things, sometimes her family, they don't want it because they want something else, like be buried or,
Yeah, that's
so
right. Yeah.
That's why I told them, listen, I'm not crazy, but we need to talk about it. This is what she wants.
Yeah, it's very important. It's really very important. I'm glad you bring it up.
Yeah.
I have a friend who passed away very young, and she was not well, but she didn't tell her family what she wanted. She was estranged from them, right? She wasn't close to anybody in her family. So she made me the healthcare proxy, the person who makes the decisions, and but she didn't tell them. So when they understand that she's about to die and they come and then she's getting cremated and there's, all the where do the ashes go and things like that. She had told me a lot about what she wanted, but she had never told them. So they feel like, oh, this for me, a stranger, right? This stranger thinks they can tell us about our girl, right? But in fact, this bringing up that it's okay to talk about death, and it's important to talk about your own death and other people's death. Just to understand, like, this is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Let's make up a plan.
Sooner or later it's gonna happen.
That's right. Someday, someday. And you never know who goes first.
Exactly.
As we saw. But you know that someday this happens, that your children will go on without you, or in my case, my mom is alive and she talks about it all the time, right? Because my father died, she can't wait to get there. But she's very strong and she's very healthy. So that's a problem, right? Because she's not going anytime soon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
My parents, they passed. My dad, he passed on October, and my mom on December. And he came for her. See, when we was buried, my dad, she is sick, so she never went to the cemetery. We was at the funeral home, and she started getting kind of back pain. So what we did, to the hospital. So in 3 months, she passed. Well, 3 months after my dad passed.
She had esophageal cancer.
No, like lung problem, lung cancer. When the doctor was doing, her checkup, she was, I don't know how to say it, like dizzy or something. And she was telling my dad, move.
Yeah,
Because the doctor is gonna do his, checkup on me. So step away.
You gotta get out of here.
Yeah. And the doctor was like, what is yeah. And they don't even believe it, but the hospital has cameras, and we got access to the cameras. And she was talking about, like move, step away, because you are in the doctor's way.
That veil becomes very thin, doesn't it?
Yeah,
It
because
really does.
they lived together for over 60 or 70 years.
Yeah.
My oldest sister, she passed away. Same thing, cancer. And when she was passing, she was holding somebody, one of her neighbor. She was holding her hand, and one of her sons say something to her, so she wake up. And she said to my nephew, Luis, Polly, her neighbor, Polly was walking with me, holding hands each other.
He came to get her.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And my nephew, he was crying because he knows it was gonna happen. And she said that. Polly came and holding him with me, to the dimension. That's what she's saying, the dimension.
Thank you so much for sharing all that with me. That is so amazing. And like I said, just for both of you being so open and honest and caring. And I think that people, when they hear your story, that it really will help them to walk through their own story, because we don't get out of this. My father used to say, it's a one-way ticket. That's what he would say.
Yeah.
It's a one-way ticket, right? We don't get out of this thing alive, right?
Exactly.
Every single one of us is going to go, and that means that every single one of the people that we know is going to go to. And so this practice of, okay, how do we accept and move through these losses is very important to learn, and you're a great example.
The way I think that it's, the healing process feels like when you do exercises, when you build muscles, it's gonna hurt, but you just keep doing it, and then you get used to it. So that's the way I feel.
Please visit Santos and Raquel's shop at tierrahuichol.com. That's TIERRAHUICHOL.com. And if you're in the area, stop in. You'll definitely want to take something home with you. Also, learn to find and live in your joy at Donnalynn.blog. Talk to you next time.